Extinction event. These are extinct. I cannot get any more of
Oh,
these
really?
beautiful 100-ounce 4.9 fine Royal Canadian Mint bars. Gone. Valcambi kilos. Gone. Extinct.
Wow.
Maples. Extinct. Out of stock. Out of stock. Platinum Eagles. Extinct. Unavailable. It goes on and on. Palladium. Any form of palladium. There is 0 available. Platinum. Extinct. The only platinum I can get is 1/10 ounce Britannias. This is unusual because it's across the metals now. Gold Canadian maples. We could add gold extinct. Can't get them. If the public wake up and people who've been thinking of buying choose to buy, give it a day or two, there's not going to be anything left. Crazy stuff worldwide now. You know, we've got wars breaking out. The US, we are creating wars. It looks like we want a regime change in Venezuela. It looks like we're aiding and abetting Pakistan to invade Afghanistan. It's just on and on and on. So we've got all these border conflicts. We could wake up tomorrow, and is it Maria Sheinbaum, the Mexican president? She could say, do you know what? Silver's going up so fast, I think we'll just keep it for a bit and we'll see where it lands before we start selling it again. I mean, if they did that, silver would be $300, $400, $500 next week.
Global markets are entering unfamiliar territory. Inflation is proving stickier than central banks predicted. Debt levels around the world continue to surge, and demand for hard assets is rising fast as confidence in fiat money steadily erodes. While equities wobble and the dollar weakens, a quiet but powerful shift is taking place in the precious metals market, and it's centered on silver. Silver has already surged to multi-decade highs, dramatically outperforming gold year-to-date. And according to experts on the ground, the world may be witnessing the early stages of a physical silver supply crisis so severe that the metal could soon become unobtainium. That warning comes from silver analyst and metals dealer Ian Everard, who says physical inventories are vanishing, premiums are rising, and retail investors risk being locked out if they wait much longer. Tonight, we dive into the forces behind this unprecedented silver squeeze, why physical metal is disappearing across global markets, and what this means for savers, investors, and everyday citizens trying to protect their purchasing power in a rapidly debasing monetary system. Let's begin. In a recent interview, Ian Everard, a specialist in physical precious metals, issued one of the strongest warnings yet on the state of the silver market. He argues that we are entering what he calls a mass extinction event for physical silver, with major bullion products disappearing from shelves and refineries, prioritizing only high-purity industrial supply. Everard notes that major refiners are refusing to process lower-grade sterling and constitutional silver, concentrating instead on industrial-grade bars to meet urgent market shortages. According to Everard, some refiners are under great pressure to ship large bars to physical exchanges as investors increasingly demand delivery instead of settling in cash. And the situation is becoming visible on the ground. He describes a market where common silver products, from Royal Canadian Mint bars to Britannias and Eagles, are already marked out of stock, both in North America and Europe. In the United Kingdom, he reports retail premiums for silver coins equivalent to roughly $75 per ounce, far above global spot prices. U.S. dealers, meanwhile, are reportedly bidding above spot just to secure supply. Everard warns that if retail awareness accelerates, availability could collapse overnight. If the public wake up, give it a day or two, there's not going to be anything left. Let's get into the video, but before we do, please like, share, subscribe, and check our other videos to help you create a well-informed precious metals strategy. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's two views. There's the sort of total line view. I watch, I think it's called Gold Core, really smart lady on that. And she thinks, no, everything's fine. It'll all get smoothed out. I'm not so sure. I mean, there's information. You look at what the refiners are doing or not doing. They're not taking sterling silver. They're not taking 90% constitutional silver. They're just concentrating on using 3.9 or 4.9 silver and turning it into 1,000-ounce bars, or to mine concentrate and doré. I think they're under some pressure, or great pressure, to keep cranking out the 1,000-ounce bars to try and keep filling the exchange for physical requirement. And that seems to be every time we get a big surge, there's a surge in people standing for physical instead of dollars. And it's a risk-reward choice. And I think the more people who've actually know, I'll stand for physical, I'll take the physical now, it's worked out for them time and time again, because then the current price jumps up. Whereas I think, are we still at 48 for the year-end futures? It's a ridiculous difference between the live reality and what you may be able to. Well, you could pay for your silver in the future now, but whether you'll get it or not. So I think that is a fascinating figure. You said 50 plane loads of silver.
500, I believe, is what is the statistics that Eric Young told me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you think 2 weeks ago, the best calculations was the LBMA had 6 weeks left of free float that was presumed to be available. So obviously, they're fudging the figures. Whatever silver there, I think it's owned multiple times, or it's been leased, shipped out. The leasee has sold it, presuming they can make out like a bandit in AI or crypto with the dollars, and then come back in and make a profit that way, and they've got burnt. Whereas pretty well all other assets are falling, silver's going up. So the squeeze, if anybody, well, we know people are doing that and have been doing that. It's worked really well for them. They're really getting punished now, because until they can actually get hold of the physical silver, they can't turn their exposure off. We are seeing incredibly high prices for silver in Britain. I track it, being a Brit, ex-Brit stroke American. I don't know. I think I'm a bit of both. I mean, silver Britannias.
Yeah.
These are $75 each.
75 US dollars.
In the UK. The equivalent $75 US. Now, yes, you've got purchase tax factor into that, but that's the reality for the stacker on the ground. If they want to buy a new Britannia, $75. Whereas here they're 54 plus 4, they're $58 here. But people are still buying them. And we've seen stories in Poland that dealers are offering $6 over spot for any sovereign coin, just so they can get some stock. So we've got just a little lag here, a little luxury, but already we're seeing, maybe we should title this interview a mass extinction event.
I like it. Silver's mass extinction event. I love that. Yeah.
Mass extinction event. These are extinct. I cannot get any more of these.
Really?
Beautiful 100-ounce 4.9 fine Royal Canadian Mint bars. Gone. Valcambi kilos. Gone, extinct.
Wow.
Maples, extinct, out of stock. Platinum Eagles, extinct, unavailable. It goes on and on. Palladium, any form of palladium, there is 0 available. Platinum, extinct. The only platinum I can get is 1/10 ounce Britannias. This is unusual because it's across the metals now. Gold Canadian maples. We could add gold extinct. Can't get them. If the public wake up and people who've been thinking of buying choose to buy, give it a day or two, there's not going to be anything left. Premiums will just go vertical. We'll be back to $16 premiums on Eagles. I mean, again, there's one thing I didn't mention on that list of extinctions. 2025 silver Eagles. That's my last tube. Extinct.
Wow.
So yeah, premiums are going to rise. They are rising. We've seen $1 to $2 premium increases. So yeah, unfortunately, the retail market is so small in dollar terms compared to the amount that people got in their savings accounts, money markets, even SLV, PSLV. We've got a lot of clients who, do you know what? I'm getting out of Dodge. I do not want my metal in a theoretical fund. And I know the PSLV is supposed to be one of the best, and that whole setup, they buy the silver before they issue more shares. They do it the right way, but where's it stored? In the Royal Canadian Mint. Who owns the Royal Canadian Mint? Probably. I can show you a picture. I won't say the words. I think he owns the Royal Canadian Mint. So, counterparty risk. We're seeing crazy stuff worldwide now. We've got wars breaking out. The US, we are creating wars. It looks like we want a regime change in Venezuela. It looks like we're aiding and abetting Pakistan to invade Afghanistan. It's just on and on and on. So we've got all these border conflicts. We could wake up tomorrow, and is it Maria Sheinbaum, the Mexican president? She could say, do you know what? Silver's going up so fast, I think we'll just keep it for a bit and we'll see where it lands before we start selling it again. I mean, if they did that, silver would be $300, $400, $500 next week.
This tightening comes amid a broader structural crisis. Industrial demand, from solar manufacturing to defense technology, continues to surge, led by China's aggressive clean energy expansion and U.S. military consumption. And because most silver is mined as a byproduct of industrial metals, production typically declines during recessions, just as demand remains strong. Meanwhile, central banks are aggressively buying gold, inflation remains elevated, and real yields continue to trend lower, dynamics that historically drive capital into precious metals as currencies weaken. Everard argues we are already witnessing a real-time accounting of fiat currency debasement, noting that global money supply has exploded since 1980. If history repeats, silver's monetary role may be reawakening at the exact moment supply chains fracture and investor attention spikes. And while some investors are waiting for a pullback, Everard cautions that in a real physical squeeze, premiums may rise faster than spot prices fall, meaning waiting could cost more than acting early. In his words, this may be the wrong time to sit on the sidelines if the world is, in fact, entering a secular shift away from fiat assets and toward tangible wealth. Let's get back to the interview.
Spot on. You look at China's plan for solar, the way they're ramping up solar, they're going to be nearly reaching a requirement of 400 million ounces of silver a year. It's like, and when China decides it's going to do something from the CCP, from Z down, it tends to get done, or the people that say, no, you can't do it, die, so they have every motivation to make it happen. What that is causing the price of silver to do we've got that difference in the Shanghai. I don't know if it's correct. I'm sure people can check it. If you go to the Shanghai Gold Exchange, we've got a great difference against the Chinese spot for silver than the US spot. That arbitrage is going to get filled. Traditionally wholesalers can work on a 10 or 15 cents margin per ounce. If you can make $4, $5, $6 by getting the silver to China, people are going to find a way. So I think China is sucking up huge amounts of silver. So, and then you add the military industrial complex in the US, the amount of silver, no real transparent figures on what the military is using. But any high-tech military equipment will have silver wires, it'll have silver heat sinks, it'll have silver alloys, even the superstructure, the airframes could well be silver aluminum alloy. Just on and on. And there's talk even of silver iron jet engines or propulsion systems. So I don't think the industrial demand eases up now, even as we enter a global recession. And then there's the pretty quick, maybe a year into a recession, zinc, copper, and lead mining will be reduced to some extent. That's where 70–80% of the silver comes from as a byproduct. So you've got a perfect storm there in the supply and demand uses. And a lot of these industrial uses are high value uses. So they're not that sensitive to the price. So in the normal dynamics, as a cost of something goes up, the demand drops. So the available supply increases, so the price corrects. I don't think we're going to see that in silver now. And then you add in people waking up. We've got a lot of first-time buyers who've been known the lie of the dollar, but it's been working really well for them for decades. Now some of them are thinking, do you know what? I need to put $1 million or $2 million into something real. It really doesn't take many of those across the industry, and silver's gone. I think, and on previous history, when we've had pretty rapid moves, if we do get a pullback, the increase in premiums will wipe that out. So you'll still pay as much per ounce. There's going to be distortions to that as secondary market comes on. I know some coin shops, I got contacts with some coin shops in Utah. I know they've been swamped with people selling product. So temporarily, some coin shops will be selling at spot or below spot just to keep their cash flow. Most banks are not interested in lending to the bullion industry. Why, I don't know. Well, I do know, but I'm not going to say it. Don't want to upset my bank. So, yeah, scary, all-time high. Yeah, no, I had this when we broke to the mid-30s last year. I remember one day I placed an order at $36 something spot. That day, I was the only customer of one of the largest wholesalers in the US that bought silver. Everyone else was holding back. No, this is going to pull back. Why buy it and hedge and do all of that? I'll wait. And it didn't pull back. So, yeah, fear of missing out. Not a good reason. Because if it's a FOMO, it means you're over emotional about the decision. It's going to be a short-term decision. And then if it does pull back a little bit, you think you're going to dump this and move on to the next shiny thing. And so that's not for you. To do it although you could have done really well on a momentum trade, if you got a good deal over a small spread, you could have been making 10% a week. And another one final thing is it's the privacy.
Yes.
Depending on the size of your purchase and depending who you purchase it from and how you purchase it, can be a private transaction that is not declarable. That could be the most valuable aspect of owning precious metals. I cannot see how the US can go forward without more financial repression and more taxation. Now, the lie might be, oh, yes, corporation tax is low and the billionaires are paying less tax. Yes, that's true. But what about the rest of us? We will be paying more tax one way or the other. Silver in a lot of states now is voluntary legal tender. How that plays out into sales tax, I don't know. I'm having a discussion here where we live in rural Idaho. We get our tax dollars are sucked up and go to Boise, 4.5 hours away, where we never see them again. Well, what would happen if we introduced a local currency, physical metal? What would that tax? How do you charge sales tax on that? Do you clip a little bit off the coin? It's like, so we may be able to develop legal ways of using silver in a local community that are sales tax exempt, federal tax exempt, and private. I think a lot of people, smart people, will be pushing forward with that. Obviously, there's already the informal economy. I am aware of transactions happening that are fully private.
As global inflation persists, geopolitical tensions intensify, and trust in central bank policy wanes, the world appears to be rediscovering the oldest hedge in finance: real assets with finite supply. Gold has already broken records. Silver is rapidly closing the gap. And if Everard's warnings prove accurate, physical silver may soon transition from undervalued commodity to scarce monetary refuge. In a world of digital money and disappearing purchasing power, the risk may not be paying too much, but waiting until there's nothing left to buy. The silver market has flipped from complacency to competition, and those who prepare early often move quietly. Those who wait usually move desperately. For now, the signals are clear. Supply is tight, demand is rising, and confidence is shifting. The clock on cheap precious metals, and perhaps on fiat stability, is ticking. If you found this report valuable, subscribe and turn on notifications. And more importantly, stay informed, stay prepared, and stay ahead of the crowd.